Anybody here? Dun, 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 dun. Well, there we go. Welcome to the show. I guess if nobody's here, it's going to be kind of a boring show. Let's see if anybody's on. So far, my chat is devoid of anyone. Let's see. Switch it up. Hey, Svenborn. At least somebody's here. General Rush, good afternoon. There's a couple people. Hey, Sergio. Hey, there we go. Now we got a couple people showing up. I was concerned that nobody was here. Kimberly, my favorite subscriber, is here. Favorite subscriber in the whole wide world. Laura, good to see you. Brad, Carlene. Now we got some people. I was like, this is going to be really boring if do 30 minutes of awesome and nobody showed up. Anyway, so we've got an earnings wind down. We're kind of coming toward the end of earnings season. There'll be less and less earnings. There's still plenty of earnings, but less interesting companies. Most of the S&P 500 companies have already reported. And we've got companies like laggards like NVIDIA still to come. If we pop over NVDA, we still got them out here toward the end of the month. But that's coming up pretty quickly. That's 8 days away. So even that's wrapping up pretty rapidly. Looking at the calendar. Oh, cool. I'm not going to load the calendar. Let's see what we can do. Calendar. There we go. Look at earnings. I mean, there were 900 today, 660 tomorrow, 600, 245. So it's not devoid. It's just, winding down a bit. Come on out to next week. As you can see, tapering on off with 200, another 900 there, 300, 180. And Monday, of course, is a holiday in the United States. Then we're on to June. And another 198, 260. That's a big drop off. No more 900s right there as we come into June. And then, we have earnings almost every weekday out there, even as we go into the end of the month, into the quarter, and right up to the end of the month, more and more, and then we kick into the first right there. So this will be earnings season ramping back up again. Most of the S&P 500 companies will be entering their blackout period somewhere around mid-June. That'll kind of slow everything down, and buybacks and all that sort of things that have been reportedly driving us higher, all slowing down as we get into mid-June, about a month away. Today, well, we hit the wall. The thing is, do we go at the wall again, or is this the start of the bigger pullback that I've been talking about for a couple weeks? We've had potential to hit the wall ever since we got to the middle of the danger zone. We gapped up and then pushed higher, pushed higher, pushed higher, pushed higher, pushed higher. And today we kind of stopped. First red day we've had since that one. Kind of crazy that we had like 6 green days in a row. Finally getting a little bit of red. Didn't even break below the lows though. So I guess we'll see what happens in the coming days here. We're in the pause. 5 o'clock does pause the futures. They'll reopen at 6 o'clock. And we'll get a feeling for this. As I left it this morning, if we push below the 15-minute, you have to go to the 30-minute and check it out. We pushed down into the 30-minute and so far held fast. So far, if we start getting below that, then we look on up to the 1 hour for support. And as I mentioned, we haven't been down to that 1 hour in quite a few days. Quite a few days. All the way back here to the 7th. So we're looking at 2 weeks. That's, that's a ways out. We're due for a touch, at least of the 1 hour. And then if that one doesn't hold, 4 hour. If the 4 hour doesn't hold, we're back up to the daily, which is right down in the middle of the danger zone. And if that doesn't hold, we're coming down here. That's just a 618, a 50 to 618 retrace of this whole move up off the lows since right back here at the beginning of April. Right there. And there it is. There it is. S5FI. Above 80. Spiked above 80 today. We've got everything in place for a reversal. S5TW is above 80. S5FI touched above 80. SP500 is ripe. VIX expiration tomorrow morning. Everything's in place. So, gotta be careful. Gotta be careful. So, Memorial Day Monday, that means it's a holiday. Looking at the economic calendar, this week it's pretty benign. Not a whole lot of anything happening in the United States as far as economic news-wise goes. And Monday's a holiday, so next week is a short week. Remember that. Be careful. 3-day weekend. Sometimes we see extra spicy stuff on crypto on 3-day weekends. Right there. So I'll do a crypto special right here on YouTube on Monday. And we'll see what happens. So that'll be it. And then we'll wrap up the month right there. Wrap up May. Crazy. Time flying faster than I can keep up with. So all trading involves a substantial risk of loss. Past performance not necessarily indicative of future results. This presentation here is intended to be informational, educational, fun, entertaining, not a recommendation to be buying or selling any financial instrument, including stocks, options, bonds, forex, futures, cryptos, treasuries. Don't long them, don't short them, don't trade them. You may lose money. If you desire personal financial advice, you want somebody just to tell you what buttons to push, what to buy, what to sell, what to get into, what to get out of, hire and consult a financial advisor. That's what they do. That's not what I do. I don't pretend to be one, although I do make some money doing this thing we do called trading. Right here. 50K challenge. The goal is to make this 1 month number right here. To take that 1 month number and turn it into 50K instead of like 3K. Now, the first month is done. We did the first month. As you can see, when I click on the 3 month, we now have $3,000. When I click on the 1 month, a trade dropped off. So I am now officially 1 month in. Spicy stuff here. We see the 1 month profit curve right here. Where's the losses? There are none. 3 month. As you can see, this account was dead. I refunded it, and we've only been going a month. So that's what I've got so far. Got a number of open positions. Let's see. There's 6 options, six short put positions, 3 shares, and a VIX to cover, I believe. So 10 positions I've got right now on a $90,000 account. I did do an update in Discord. Posted it in the announcements channel over the weekend, just in case you didn't see it. And right here's the announcements channel right up here. A couple days back, here's every trade up through Saturday. Right there, entry and exit. You can click on them, pop them out, check them out. There's the profit and loss for the accounts in the first month. Not bad. Where's the losers? There are none. It's just straight up profit and loss straight out of a live account. And there you go. Year to date, booked $3,000. That's in line with K-Info. Go back to performance. Hold the number 3001. It rounded 75 cents up to $1. So there you go. Everything's verified. All trades verified. It won't post them and show them until they're closed. So if you want the real deal live updates, every twist and turn along the way, every explanation, and ask any questions you want, Turnmeyer Trading Labs is the only place to get that. And the link is in the description if you want to check that out. You can just go inquire with my team. It does cost money. It is a 5-figure number. It is expensive, but virtually all my Turnmeyer Trading Lab members tell me it's more value than they could ever imagine. So I think it's affordable. I mean, I know Sergio would tell you, just about any of them will tell you it's very worthwhile. Tons of them in the chat there. So anyway, that's what we got. How it's going. A few people have been confused on it. Like, the goal is to take an account. There's no starting stake. There's no a lot of people got confused. I took and funded the account with $10,000 to start, and then I borrowed $75,000 and put that in there. I did borrow money. I am using borrowed money to trade with. Then I have been closing out positions in other accounts and moving that money over, and now the account is currently worth about $94,000 and change, getting close to $95,000. I will have to pay back the $75,000 somewhere around November, so I'll have to take that back out if I don't, if I can't otherwise cover that money some other way. It's just the way it is. All right, build the account however you can build it. That's the goal. That's what I'm doing. All right. However I can build it, I'm trying to get this number up to 50,000. Why 50,000? Last year, I had several months of that kind of income due to all the things I do, and it allowed me to solve a lot of problems for me and my family. Family, friends, $50,000 a month solved a lot of problems. All right. So that seems like a good number to target. So that's what I'm targeting. So this number on the 3-month will be 150. Okay. When do I reach the goal? When I have 6 consecutive months with $50,000. So this number right here will be at least 50. This number right here will be 150. This number right here will be at least 300, but it'll probably be more like 600,000 right there when we get the goal. That's pretty spicy. Pretty spicy indeed. There you go. You can see all the trades are verified and logged and checked. I have nothing to do with this. I have K-Info hooked directly to my Robinhood account. It downloads all the trades every night, verified. I can't change anything, can't fudge any numbers. It's right there, official. So these are real deal trades. Make sure whatever guru you're following shows you the real P&L. This is my real deal trades right here. Not hiding a dang thing. So any kind of trading style is open game. Personally, my goal is to have small, repeatable, consistent profits so I have a repeatable pattern of trades that I can keep doing month after month after month. So that's what I'm relying on, all the things I've done in the past, all the things I've learned to build this. If you want to see every twist and turn and explanation along the way, Turnmeyer Trading Labs is how you join in right there. And channel members get I've been posting snapshots of what open positions I have and what the orders are every day for channel members of this channel right here. So they're not trade alerts. They're not. They're just daily updates. This is what I got open. This is how I'm targeting it. Those are posted in the posts for channel members right there. So even if you can't afford Turnmeyer Trading Lab, you can check out the trades on K-Info, and you can be a channel member and check out what I'm doing. Different ways to play, different ways to follow along. And these are grayed out unless you become a pro member on K-Info, I guess. So I am a top 500 member for the 3 months. My current rank is 225 out of the thousands of people that are on K-Info. If you look at the 1 month leaderboard, go back to the 1 month, I am ranked at 173 on the 1 month leaderboard. So I'm not at the top. Lots of people have a lot more money than me on the leaderboard. I mean, obviously, if you got $13 million of profit for a month, that's a lot bigger than me. But when you leave the average gain, look who pops right up to the top. Sledge. JT right there, coming in number 5. And when you look at the average winning trades, I'm tied for first place. And we got a few more people up here. It was only like 4 people. Now we got 10 people for the last 30 days. So tied for first place, 10-way tie. 100% win rate. Hard to get better than that. We look at the 3-month. Guess who's right up here? Number 3-way tie on the 3-month. 100% win rate. Right there. The average gain. I'm still hanging in here pretty good. Number 6 on the 3-month leaderboard. I think that's, I don't know. I mean, it's pretty elite to be up there with people that make millions of dollars and dominating the leaderboard. You can let me know what you think. I think it's pretty good. It leans on my years of practice at this. Good job, Sledge, holding down the number 1 position, though. Alrighty, back to trading, back to what we're doing. This is a warning. I'm telling you, this is a warning right here. Warning, 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 warning. S5TW, that stock's above the 20-day, is at a warning point. S5FI poked above 80 today. That's all we needed. Just needed a poke. I mentioned that this morning that we might need it to poke above 80 before we roll. Guess what? S5TW, ready to roll. S5FI, ready to roll. VIX OPEX tomorrow, ready to roll. S&P above the danger zone, ready to roll. Nasdaq above the danger zone, ready to roll. That's a lot of dangerous setups. Not trying to be bearish. I have a few protection trades on. I've got a few $100 risk put on. If we get a bigger downtrend, downswing in the markets, those few $100 trades will turn into a few $1,000 trades and cover anything I'm down on some of my longs. I've not really liquidated out long trades. I'm kind of sitting mostly long, but I'm ready for a pullback. Now, as far as this goes, I'm expecting a higher low on this pullback, find support, and then go higher. That's my primary expectation for the rest of the year. This pullback right here could last us through the summer. Very well could. And we could chop in here through the summer until we break on out back above these highs right here. It's very possible we get a pullback that lasts us well into the deep summer before we break out and head to new highs. That's primarily what I want to see. Now, the flip side, I talked about this quite a bit this morning. If we rally right on up here, make a new high, we have the exact same pattern we had when we topped out right before the great financial crisis. This looks exactly the same right here. This and this and this looks exactly the same, except it's on a higher time frame. That means it's bigger. That means the next downturn, if we go up here, will likely last longer. The one for the great financial crisis lasted like 7 years. So since we're on a higher time frame, this could last like 14 to 25 years before we're back to highs again. If we go up higher and break down. That's a big warning. I don't really want to go up or higher right now. I want to go into a correction, do a healthy correction, and then make constructive price action higher. Okay. That could easily take us well into next year. If we don't do a correction now, I'm scared that we're going to lead to bigger downside things. Now, Nasdaq does have a little extra headspace here before we meet the downtrend of highs that we've got cooking since that December high. Remember, Nasdaq topped out in December. Had nothing to do with any tariffs or anything like that. This has all been one big correction right there. Blamed on Liberation Day, but it started right here in December with that high and that initial pullback, this lower high that we did right there that led into that bigger downside. I expect a correction, hold a higher low, back down in here, somewhere around the 18,000 area, hold that, and then go higher. And like I said, just like S&P 500, this could last us well into late summer, early fall, before we break out back through these highs and go cruising again. Russell looks a lot more bearish. This chart is not anywhere close to breaking higher right now. We're still below the roadmap line and still below the 618 right there. Now, if you're wondering what the devil, roadmap line, you're new here, maybe check it out. Go to my channel homepage, watch that video. I explain what it is, how it works, and if you want an easy button to just add it to your chart and get the masterclass, all the extra stuff, link is in the description down below. It's like $5. About the cheapest thing I possibly offer right there. Oil. Let's go over to the red list. Oil. I know this chart's gotten messy. There's lots of fib levels in here. Let's just delete a few things. Delete a few things, delete a few things. So right now, we made this low. It is a higher low at this point. We've got that move, and that move, and we haven't even been up to test the breakout level or this level up here. Funny enough, that fib line lines up right with the roadmap line at this point. So these are two levels of significant upside resistance. Higher low, so that's slightly bullish leaning at this point. We only hit the 50% right here. So that's bullish at this point. Using the 3-point tool, this low, this high, this low. We are looking like a next potential move right up in here. So that's 2 for this area being a resistance right there. That might be where price is headed next. Daily roadmap line. Imagine that. Who could have thought? Anyway, we have this significant resistance. Where does this big heavy line come from? That comes from the May 2023 low that oil made right back over here. And it is a significant resistance. We're having trouble getting back through it. We've had trouble getting through it here. We had trouble getting through it here. We made a lower high. And now we're coming up for a potential third attempt to get through. If we can get through, we'll probably come up here and find resistance around 68. If we can get through all that, things are looking spicy. We're cruising on up, possibly back into the 100 zone, 90 at least. Go retest some of these prior highs. We got that high, this high, this high, and this high to go retest as we go cruising back up through here. This 618 level hanging out right at 100. That would be where I primarily expect. And then the long-term target I've talked about since we started correcting and made that May 23 low, this area right in here, right around 105. If we get above that, probably going to new highs on oil. And these are new highs since COVID. So we're talking about up here around 150 right here. Arguably, everything oil did before it went negative back here in COVID doesn't matter. That's the lowest low on the chart right there. So brand new pattern coming off that lowest low. Brent, on the other hand, European oil, a little bit different pattern. A lot of the same stuff. Resistance to the roadmap line, and then resistance up here at 107. Gasoline. This has been looking like it's working on a bullish breakout. We did dip back below the roadmap line. So this will be one to keep an eye on. If we get back above this level right in here, around 212, break back above that high right there, probably coming on up to 228. And if we manage to push on up to 236, these are wholesale prices, not pump prices. If we manage to push on up there, retrace, we'll probably break on out. Right there. Heating oil, which is diesel fuel, still hasn't managed a positive move yet. We have a potential 1, 2, 3, 4. We need a little fifth move and then a retrace back in here. So potential little baby move up. Yeah, it looks really, really small. That magnet messed with it. And that a little better. There we go. A little better. Need to see that pop on up. Probably a fifth wave move right back up toward the roadmap line. maybe another retrace back to here, and then breakout. That next breakout could be pretty big. So that's got a little grinding to go before we can break out on diesel fuel. Natural gas prices. Wow, what a candle today. Nice big fat reversal off the 618 zone. Let's imagine that. It bounced right off the reversal zone. Beautiful. This has a setup to rally on back up in this area right here. That'll be the next target for 406 to 432. Somewhere in there would be where I expect that to go next. Could take a few months to get there. If we break back, I mean, this is like you run the fib lines and stuff, right? Like no different. We held that support. So you take and run the fib line from the high down to the low. That 618 zone right there is the thing we have to break above to confirm we're going on up. So if we get above that, the likelihood we go right up here, highly likely. 395 could be support or resistance going up. So we may see it come up here, pull back before we extend on up into that zone like that. Seasonality wise, natural gas should rally through November, December. And that's just typically that high on that chart every year, November, December. For the next 12 years, they've got it forecasted out like that. Get your low in April, high in November, December. GC. Ho, ho, ho. Looky, looky, looky. Coming back up. I do expect this to come a bit higher. But we're in the minimum zone. Like that was the minimum price I needed to see for this high right here. We're running faster. We were running slower than I expected. Now all of a sudden we're running faster after I moved everything over. This move up was just like this move up. That high, this high, right there. This low, where we pulled back to, was equivalent to that low right there. This next move is this move right here. This was the minimum level we needed to reach. At 33.22, next level up, and 33.67 would be the extra spicy level right in there. 33, was that 33.70? 33.70 would be the ideal spot to tag right there. This is almost too good. I bet it does something weird, but it throws a wrench in the works. This is almost too perfect, especially if this rally's right on up here. As far as getting in the gold rush trade tomorrow, if we're up here, I don't know. Next move would be that move right there, then that move, and then the big move down. Scary. Silver, on the other hand, hasn't done jack squat. Just sitting in here. That looks a lot like a B wave of some sort. This looks like some sort of A wave, some sort of B wave, possibly a C wave, and then down. I don't know. It's difficult. It's difficult price action to figure out right there. Ambiguous. Copper, very similar to silver, just sitting here, except this one's actually on the roadmap line with kind of a wedge shape. It looks like a bull flag, but that can lead to downside. Looking at old buddy Bitcoin. Churning around. Apparently, there was a joke. It forgot its wallet and had to go back and get it. As it popped up, forgot its wallet down here, had to go back and get the wallet, and now we're back up here. I don't know. Keep being cautious here. It doesn't have any real structure to project higher prices here. I speculated that we might rip on up to 115, as high as this area right here, before we get the next pullback. We need a bigger pullback in here to really be able to calculate the next high. It would make me feel a lot better if there's no structural pullbacks in here to really project off of. So it's just like one move up, consolidation, move up, consolidation, move up, consolidation. There's no pullbacks. That concerns me a little bit. And if we pop right on up to the 120 area on the next pop, we just popped right up here. That could lead to that being the final move before crypto winter. That's what scares me the most right there. Ethereum, Ether, just hanging out, chug-a-lugging, consolidating right on top of the roadmap line. One nice big swift move up and just a consolidation. That one would look really good with a retrace like that. So yeah, be careful. I don't know if there is any other altcoin. The thing that seems to be performing in the face of, in this, the new altcoin, if you will, for this cycle, the new meme coin, seems to be these Bitcoin buyers, these stocks that buy and hold Bitcoin. And you may be like, well, how do I find a list of those? BitcoinTreasuries.net right here pretty much lists all the things that hold big chunks of Bitcoin. So all these Bitcoin holders, hodlers, like CEP, MSTR, they seem to be the things that are outperforming this time. Smelter Scientific, you got Next Technologies, that XXI, CEP. You've got some other ones down through here. These ones that are Bitcoin proxies, people, companies that are buying up and holding Bitcoin on their balance sheet. That seems to be what's actually outperforming this cycle. SMLR, you can see, nice big fat move up for no apparent reason whatsoever. CEP, giant move for no apparent reason. Except we hold Bitcoin, and Bitcoin's not even ripping yet. So these could be the meme coins. Not even coins, but they could replace meme coins this cycle. Anyway, kind of crazy, right? Kind of crazy. All right, we're to that point in the show where I usually do request for at least 30 minutes. As usual, channel members have priority. So if your name is green and you got a star, well, I'm going to take your request first. Once all the channel members have made their requests, I'll circle back around and hit regular channel subscribers. So the rules of the game, I need a complete ticker. If I have the ticker open in a service, I reserve the right to give you minimal analysis and or not review it. So please use trading alert services for questions about a ticker if you have them. And yeah, use a complete ticker. If you got a question, please use complete sentences. If I skip something, it's my discretion. I need you to, one ticker per request per person. You need to wait for a couple other people to go. If I see you just going like every other person, I'm going to start skipping you. All right. That's kind of the way this goes. I'll do it for at least 30 minutes. And lately we've been going for an hour. So let's get it. Let's hit as many as we can here. All right. And Marvel, it's the first one I see. If you requested something in the top, I didn't pay attention to the chat. I do apologize. I'll mostly stay on the daily chart. Marvel down here underneath resistance. And that's not very constructive. Bullish price action off the lows yet. A big consolidation right here. Giant gap down with the roadmap line right in the middle of that. That is a dangerous spot that might take some effort to get back through right there. It's going to be a dangerous spot to get through right there on Marvel. PLTR, we came up just shy of the target. Just shy of the target. I was using it as an example of leveraged ETFs earlier. So the downside, is that, you know, when you look at this, maybe that was close enough to consider having hit the target. You know, the algorithms are very definitive, and that would not be a hit because it didn't hit that 1448. All right, where does 1448 come from? It's 90% of the way to the 1272. This is a relatively new fib line I added myself after doing a whole lot of back testing. So this level, still 75% likely to get hit. We have retraced back to the breakout level. If we start below the breakout level, coming back down to the roadmap line is a real risk. Now, if you're in any kind of leverage ticker, PLTU, PTIR, you could be looking at, with 2x leverage, 70% downside versus that upside to go hit that upside level. I guess 14% upside with 2x leverage. So your upside very limited compared to the potential downside here. Be very, very careful. We break back below with any gusto here, back below these kind of levels right here. This thing could take a spill all the way back down to that roadmap line pretty quickly, right in there. That thing coming up like that. Root. Looks like we're on a correction back to the roadmap line to me. Came up shy right there, came up lower high here. That looks like a first move down. An echo. First pattern I got noticed for being a guru. You know, first thing I launched was called echo trades. This is a market echo potential right here. First move down, retrace, hold the 618. Next move down, right there. Usually I like to look for those bullish, but that one's a bearish one right there. Potential go back down to 80. Area right down here. En route. Next up. Euro USD. Man, that's interesting. Interesting. We topped that out at the target. Potential 5 up. I would expect this to potentially find resistance right there at $1.38, $1.40. I mean $1.13, excuse me, $1.13.8, $1.14. I'm missing the extra one. 1.138. Then potentially take another move down. This looks a lot like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 with that extension on the 5. That looks like a 1, 2, 3 retrace. Somewhere between here and here might be where we retrace to after hitting that 140 area. Now, if we bust through 140, could go on up to 116, 117 on that next move. Yeah, too perfect. Something like that's what I expect. Possibly as deep as that right there. So if that's 5 up, that would be a 1 and a 2, would potentially bottom in the vicinity of the 4. That just makes too much sense right there. This is LA wave analysis for those that have no idea what I'm talking about. That's 5 up, 3 down. This would potentially bottom in the vicinity of that right there. And it sets up the next bigger move. Bigger picture, bigger move, which sets up the bigger potential target up here. 1, 2, oh yeah. Yep. I know there's a lot of fib lines, but those ones I just drew, potential right up in here. We're talking about those levels right there. Oh yeah. And it lines up with this bigger potential back here. That move up, that retrace. This move up, this retrace. Those are starting to line up at the same place. Bigger move up to $1.20 to $1.30. That's bad for the dollar. Ah, interesting. All right, Coinbase. It's above the. We got to put it back on the log mode. Log mode is back above the 618, but that doesn't negate it from retracing back down to the roadmap line once again before we can break on out. It's just kind of stalled out right here. Waiting. If we get that pullback in Bitcoin, I would expect it to retrace here. If we don't and we just rip on out, well, the upside right up here, 396. Yeah, 396. Fairly simple. If we can get super spicy, maybe retrace, we could be looking at higher targets on up here, 590, possibly 800. But one step at a time. I wouldn't expect a big move until we get some retraces, especially in crypto. I'm going to turn off this algorithm. Downside on Conoco probably still valid down here. Maybe like, JT, why so bearish? You don't even have any fibs drawn. That high, that low, that high, boom, right in there. That could be it. I mean, we tagged it, but I want to more fully hit it. Really make me feel good. Needs a little bit deeper retrace. Could be it, but I don't know. Just doesn't seem like we're done yet. Let's COP for you. Oop, skip the chat all the way to the bottom. Cool. My favorite. Google. Cover this every morning. Just in case you didn't know, I cover the Mag 7s every morning. And just grinding. If this one gets to, I've been trading it quite a bit in the 50K challenge. If we pop to 180, I'm probably off of it for a little while till we do a bigger pullback. KPD. Craig Dr. Pepper. It's funny, Green Mountain Coffee Roasters used to be my favorite stock in the world. I made thousands of dollars trading that stock. Me and that stock, I knew what it was going to do. My biggest day ever before COVID was trading Keurig, or Green Mountain Coffee Roasters, GMCR, before they went private, and then came back public with Dr. Pepper. Not been the same. Can't trade this one the same way. Nope. So that's a big sideways right there. Just look at it right there. Try to break out, try to break down, more sideways. A stock at rest tends to stay at rest. That's, you know, it's kind of like a body in motion from physics tends to stay in motion. Body at rest tends to stay at rest until external forces act upon it. A stock that's been resting for 3 years is probably going to keep resting until something happens. So until something interesting happens here, we've got lower highs, we got higher lows. Nothing really interesting. And we're going to keep filling this out. That's what I expect. Nothing real fun and interesting there. Rivian. Let's see what we got. That's kind of choppy, right? I mean, not really. We are kind of pushing up into that downtrend of highs, pushing through. Look at this high. Not broken above that. Look at this high right here, this lowest low right there. That's an important, coming up to into an important zone right here. And you can see that gap we left back here. We gapped up into it, rejected down. Pushed up into it again, rejected down. This is the third attempt. Can we get through that area? If we do, upside potentially to like 33, where we consolidated over here. Maybe. I wouldn't count on that. It's gonna have to start doing some cool, cool chart stuff to. I mean, it's the first sign that maybe, possibly, we could start doing something bullish. If we get above this, that looks more positive, but this has got a lot of work to do to get out of this crap right here. This is crappy consolidation at the lows. Not a fan of that at all. Not at all. XLK. Yeah, that one potentially set for a pop back up to 254, just based on the pattern. Doesn't mean it won't retrace again before it does it. Something like that. Nice retrace would be pretty healthy at this point. Could be deep. Could come all the way back down in this zone. There you go. 254 upside and support down around 205 if we get a retrace on XLK. And moving on down, DECK. Decker Outdoors, there's the resistance right up there at 144. Could be done on the downside, maybe not. Regular split, doesn't mean anything. Yeah. We go major resistance here. If we bounce off, could go lower. Then we'll have the 618 level from the high to low, hanging out right about there, right around 160. Ha! Look at that, almost on the dot, 160. I've done enough fib lines that I can almost tell you exactly where it's going to be. Lockheed Martin. That's grinding the roadmap line. Grinding. As long as we're below it, more of that sideways, choppy junk. If we get above it, resistance right here. If we get above that, we could go on to new highs. But right now, we've kind of got a minimal uptrend of lows going. That comes all the way back from these lows back here. So we're kind of held in right now with the down pressure of the roadmap line and the up pressure of the uptrend of lows. If we break down below the uptrend lows, we could go on a bigger, deeper downside. Prime example of that, nail right here. That's just an example, not, this is a totally different sector, totally different everything. It's an example of what kind of downside you could be looking at if you broke down below the long-term uptrend of lows, come back test it, then you can take a bigger spill. So be careful on LMT. That's not bullish kind of price action right there. It's not like a reversal building when you chop like this. It's a cautionary price action right there. Danger price action. UNH is probably going to take another dip. This might have been the bottom, but it came up short of the ideal targets. We could rally back up and fill that gap right there before we take another spill. Yeah. Be very careful. It has one more big down potential in it. 220 to 240 would be the ideal spot. That's why I've got that big circle or oval hanging out right there. Big target spot right there. It might take it a little while to rally back up here before we take another spill. Right there. BA. Be careful. That's one big rip off of this low. We could come on up to that 232 area. But one of these fibs, we're going to stall out and take another retrace. Probably back down to retest at least those tops, if not the roadmap line. And that may be at the same point by the time we do that. Before we go higher again. So we didn't even stop at the 1448 there. Just went ripping right on through. Hanging out for a couple days here at the 1272. It may push on up to that 1618. This one corrected way deeper than I thought it would. But as I speculated, we could see this build some upside. We could be looking at 400 to 600 on the target on the upside in the next couple years on BA. Nothing really in the short term except potential resistance there. All right, that's the bottom of caught up with the channel members. So channel members, you're just like everybody else now. If you request anything from here on out, jump back up and catch up with all the normal subscribers and try to catch up with everybody. So BHVN, Biohaven. It looks like more downside to go. That's a new trend down. 1, 2, 3, probably 4, 5. Let's see what we get proportion wise. 14. Could go further downside to 14 before we get a bounce. If we do that, the bounce would be back to here, and then we could see further downside. 1, 2, 3. And it might be wrapping up. It could wrap up. This could be the bottom, and then we come up and break. That's just not usually the way biotechs work, though. Biotechs, pharmaceutical. Be careful out there. It's a big red flag for me. I don't care for biotech pharmaceutical. That's why I have a button here. If I push, I can do this like that. So be careful on biotechs. EPD. Enterprise Products Partners. What a name. Enterprise Products Partners. Here's the high, here's the low. Sitting here, potential to go higher. This took way too long for it to actually fire off any of my algorithms. That would be the upside, 35. And if we stall out, we can easily go back down to the lows, if not lower low. And Delta Airlines. We're up to the roadmap line. Resistance here. Kind of stuck. This may bring a 618 retrace. Right there. Big picture. This has potential to come up here to 110. That doesn't mean we won't see some retraces and stuff along the way. You can easily retrace right back down here to the 618. Got that alert level there and lead to a bigger upside, and then another retrace, and then another move up like this. 1, 2, 2, 2, 2, 2. Yep. I retrace to here, move up to here, retrace like this, and a potential final move. Arrow. Final move like this. That'd be the potential pathway for Delta right there. MU, stuck in a sideways. Oh, yeah, stuck in the main channel. We took a diversion down to the, we were consolidating in this channel over here, stuck between these highs and these lows. Took this diversion. Now we're back up here, going sideways again. There's the resistance. Here's the support. Right there. Just cruising sideways. Stock at rest tends to stay at rest. Chevron. This is ugly. Ugly, ugly, ugly. Probably coming down here. Basically a target down around 110 or so. Got really dang close there. Wow. Yeah, immediate term, we got some downside potentially to 127, possibly even to 118, right down here. Bigger picture, that was 5 up. We need kind of a deeper retrace here. And it might take a trip all the way down to that 50% retrace, right around 100. Right there. That'd be Chevron for you. DDOG. Into the resistance here. If we can get through the 618, we can set up the bigger upside potential 189, 207, possibly 230 right there. Talked about that one quite a bit lately. Target is bearish. Potential to go down here to the 50 to 60, maybe 50 to 70 zone. 54 and 70 right there. And it could retrace all the way back up to the roadmap line resistance and still pop down here. NEOG, NEOG. My gosh, that's a nasty chart. That's a regular split. Man, that looks rough. I would expect it to dip down here. Nasty chart. It's not like I love looking at charts like this. That just looks like it's gonna come down here. Rough. Kava. Somewhat bullish in Kava. Potentially made the minimum touch of what could be a measured bounce right there. But we turned down at the roadmap line is the scary part here. That resistance right there. If we can get through it. We can get through that right there. Upside potential is up here. If we were to break back below about that level right there, we could come on down right here. CIVI. No bottom in sight. Golly. Rough. Potential to bottom. I mean, potential to find support right here. Maybe. It looks like it has more downside to go before we're done here. Just looks that way. CMG. That one also hit my downside target, potentially reversing, and can lead to a bigger upside potential. We've got this big upside target on here, but we've got the resistance to do that right in here. So really, you see that get above that to go up here and then potentially correct back again. I expected it to get up there about that timeline in 2027. There. All right, that's CMG, CORZ. Of course, Scientific. It's another one of those playing with the Bitcoin stuff. Major resistance right there, and the gap. So it actually rallies up to there, or runs up to there. So 618 all the way up to the top of the gap. And that can result, even if we pop all the way up here, it could result in a deep retrace. Right there. Because people were like, if you haven't heard me talk about this before, people were buying right here. And people were buying. And then they come in the next day and price did that. So what do? You're like, oh crap. I just want my money back. I made a bad decision, right? Like, please, please, please. You hope and pray. Comes back up and you're like, oh, maybe. Oh crap. What am I going to do now? Maybe I should double down, right? And then, oh, well, that was a little better. We just got back to the gap. And then, oh no. maybe I should double down again. Maybe quadruple down, right? So you're riding this back up. If we get back up in here, and you're like positive in the position again, you just want a GTFO. Get the fudge out, and that causes this to dip again, right there. So gap downs, super dangerous when they fill. Doesn't work the same on gap ups. All right, gap ups, nobody was selling here, and they're like, oh crap, I just want to buy back in. Like, that's not the, says nobody, that's not the way traders are. You don't look back, all right, when you don't, you weren't selling here and you look back, right here you bought in and you got trapped, and maybe you double down, maybe you're just waiting, possibly you don't add, you just wait, and you're waiting and waiting and waiting, and it comes back and you're like, finally, for the love of all, I just want out, minimal loss, and then that ceiling pressure causes this to drop. So common pattern we see over and over and over. It basically happened right here on a little bitty scale right here. See that gap down? We rally back up, fill the gap, markets back open, and then sell off again. So anyway, moving on. Support resistance tomorrow. It's at support and resistance. We got it's stuck on the roadmap line right there. Next level up right here around 18, possibly up to 24. And this big consolidation right here, if we were to dip again, I would expect that to hold around 14, 13, 14. NKE might have bottomed. Might. It still has potential for a little more downside. But when we look at this on the bigger time frame, moving the wrong part. This bigger time frame, we could rock and roll up to like 400 from here. Bottom in the vicinity of that bottom, slightly lower, kind of where we bottomed here. Beautiful potential if we break back above the roadmap line. So this really pull this up like this. If we get back above, say 80, this could be rocking and rolling up to like 400. Maybe every brand is Nike in the future, right? Nice potential. Let to see. Soundhound. Man, that hit the target. The drawings. Retrace the roadmap line, that high, that low, resistance right here. If we can get above it, 29.80 on the upside. DG, beautiful. I've talked about this. So this has risk of a pullback, but big picture, the target's still right up here. Rocket ship style. Be years to get up there probably, but I do something like that. You see on the way down, it was like do. Now we're working on little baby moves, so it builds into bigger moves. Yeah, I'm bullish on DG long term. I don't have any exposure to it, but I'm bullish on DG. DKNG. It's not good. Turn it down off the roadmap line can easily lead to another swing down. That was one big move down. Swift retrace can easily lead to another move down. That potential is down here. If we get below that level. So support down around 32. If we get below 32, could be heading on down to 20. Right there. Doesn't have to do it, but that's the zone to watch right there. Now, if we can get back above, gosh, probably that level. Yeah. Danger zone. If it popped on up, still have potential to come down here. If we get above that, There's your upside potential. 57 to 62 right there. Deck already did play. Dave and Buster's. Well, we made it down to the potential measure bound zone. That's crazy. Crazy. This sets up a potential. It's going to have to do a lot of work to do this. Break back about 40, 42. Yeah, that's a 10Xer right there. Set an alert. Hard to believe that might work, but it might. So if this pops up here, gets above that level, could be up here. Now, the downside is if it comes up here and glances off and goes lower low, that'd be a not good pattern. So that's Dave and Buster's for you. Rivian already did. Defin. I don't like that. I don't like that price action. Cheese and crackers, man. Cheese and crackers. See how this right there is in the vicinity of that? I would expect this to dip right there. Yep. That's what I expect. And it could do whatever it wants to do. I mean, it could go up to 77 or 84, but that's what it looks like right there. Lots of people requesting deck. Not sure where y'all got into deck about, but I would not be touching deck. A-Lab, resistance right up here. Nothing changed from last week. Target already did. UCO is just USO. Already talked about oil. Shopify. Potential to retrace right here. Found some resistance. I'm kind of long-term bullish on this, 144, but if I would be a lot more bullish on this if we retraced back here, held, and be looking for that move right there. And 141 is the target, but might experience a retrace. TRS is chopping in this downtrend. Expect it. Just expect more of this for the foreseeable future. ENPH. Yep. That's why you got to be careful here. ENPH can easily reach down to 31. IONQ at the resistance. And I would be very careful. I was using this as an example this morning. I think it was on leverage tickers. Maybe it's yesterday morning. So there's potential that this turns down, it makes another leg, right? There's that potential. It's sitting out there. This big first move down, bounce off that 618. Potential to come down here. There's also potential if we can get through. There's a little baby gap right there. Get through that. Get through this prior high. So we got resistance here, resistance here. Get through those. We could potentially come on up to 62.77. But there's also potential to come all the way down here. Yikes. That's 12. That's 60% downside versus 50% upside. It's a big range. Dangerous. I have no strong feelings either about it. Kind of a coin toss right here. Dava. Boy, that just keeps hitting downside targets. Holy shnikes. Going out of business is a real possibility. Dang. What goes up sometimes comes right back down. Whew. That is not a good move. So why I look at these charts and I'm scared, like this looks a lot like things that have gone out of business, like Bed Bath & Beyond. So many other companies. They do this kind of pattern and then go bankrupt and out of business, like Kodak and just Big Lots and it just Bed Bath & Beyond. I mean, it's like I've seen this pattern before, and when I pull this up and I'm like, be careful. If you're long, be careful. It's like, yeah, $15. It's cheap, but $15 can go to zero. And then where are you? You just lost it all, along with the company. Be careful on that one. God. MP. So working on a new bullish potential trend here. Looking at the bigger picture, that high, that low, resistance coming up right here. Tapped into it, retraced, probably tap into it again. So that's going to be a grind maybe to get through that 78 on the big picture upside, but we got to get through that grind zone on MP. Spooks has been looking kind of sucky. Upside resistance right back up here at 100. Downside potential down here at 58. So looking for that to pop, get through that and going up. That's major, major, major resistance right there. So 100 on the upside, which is right where the roadmap line is, and 60, 58 on the downside for Starbucks RKLB. Potential to go up here to 38, possibly even up to 55. If we get that high, that's it, probably. I expect a bigger retrace. Probably back down here. Nothing to do, yeah. Nothing to do with economy or real events. That's true. Cake. Man, you're the second person today to ask me about cake. It's so weird. So, big picture. Check this out. Cake hadn't been doing Jack's Dilly for look at my years. Like done Jack squat for 12 years. Do you want to get involved in that? And then lower highs. You want to get involved in that? Potential to come back down pretty deep. It's not screaming at me, hey, this is a smoking hot deal. All right, that ramp up, that retrace, that ramp up, that retrace, this ramp up. Might do another deep retrace. Now, if, big if here, if this retraces back to the bottom of the box and we're to hold, this could be a nested breakout pattern, but you'd want to wait for it to break out right there. And this is taking so long already. Like there's lots of other ways to use your money before this does this. I mean, this could last another 3 years before it breaks out. Funny, that's the second. You're the second person that asked me that one today. That's funny. STM. Resistance. Potential bottom, but we're at resistance. It's gonna have to do some bullish things and get a nice retrace, hold support. So I'm a trend pullback continuation trader. The trend right now is inarguably down. All right. So this is a retrace of a potential continuation down until such time as we retrace, hold a higher low, and start getting extensions, and then we set up a potential for a new trend, and we could look higher. But right now, still lower would be the primary expectation. No. So we've got the big. Oh my goodness. Oh my goodness. Oh my goodness. Put a smile on my face. We are at the downtrend line. If we can break through, 300 is the target. I am long snow. Let's see. I don't remember hitting KEI. We're at the resistance there. Can easily retrace before we can go higher. And TBBK. Resistance right there. Hood. Upside target, 75 right up there. Move, of course, I moved the fibs. Upside target, all-time high, sitting at that 1,272. I've been holding this for years and booked it off. Did not add back. Maybe I should have. Right there you go. Upside target 75 and then 82. And AFL. Aflac is doing nothing. Sitting on the roadmap line. Lower highs. And arguably higher lows, but just in this intermediate watermelon seed squeeze thing, sideways for now. Till it gets upset. ALB. This gets requested every week, but further downside potential down to 36. CEG, nothing's changed there. CEG, potential upside to 393. Fast and all, potential upside in this small measured or small roadmap bounce. 84, possibly 85, and then retrace again. That's starting to look kind of choppy. Got a split planned for 2 days from now. And splits have not been kind to stocks lately. Almost everything that's split, like CMG, has just gotten obliterated after the split. Even NVIDIA ran into trouble after the split, so caution on fast. Mora, as I've talked about, there's the zone for Mora. Air, whoops, extra. Airbus, did I get the right one? No, did not. 75 potential on the upside. GS. Watch out for that retrace, at least back to the roadmap line, if not something deeper. This has been straight up off the lows without any kind of retrace, so to speak. Would not surprise me one bit to retrace right back down, at least the roadmap line, if not a little deeper right there. That's kind of the expectation right there. Are you bearish oil or just these few positions oil? I was thinking you were slightly bullish early on CL. I have a long position on oil right now. No other trade on oil. So big picture, it's still down. I mean, let's just circle back real quick. Trend pullback continuation trader. What's the trend? That's a downtrend. I have a small bullish potential trade looking for a small upside on oil. That's a big picture downtrend, bearish. Lowest low right there just a couple weeks ago. Bearish trend. You know, we made the high back here in February 22, and we've been nothing but down for 3 years, making lower lows. So trend down, pullback. That's what we're doing right now. The pullback, continuation, potentially lower. Thanks, K. LDOS. The last one that came through went just north of where it was. Resistance right there, 167. Potential to turn down again. Oxy still got downside, although we potentially bottomed out. Almost unbelievable. For those who've been following me for a long time, I've been tracking this potential to break down below this low for years now. Started talking about it in 23. Almost can't believe we did that. So upside 47 is the resistance. We're going to have to break through that to indicate we're going on up. Then we've got this resistance up here where we consolidated forever. That we're going to have to get through. We may come up there and bounce off, retrace before we can get through. You know, something like an 88 long term. Well, that's not even correct because the low's not pulled down to the lowest low. Yeah, I can't even believe that. That worked. Sledge, surge. Can y'all believe that? I mean, it's another one. Like, I predicted that years in advance. We were up here. And then when we made that high, I predicted this low right here. And it worked out. Dang. I surprised myself. Stuff works. Has nothing to do with news. Nothing to do with nothing. Just chart patterns. So here's the resistance. There's more resistance. So big resistance zone right here. Get above it. And there we go. Airbnb. I don't know. Are they going to be the everything company that the CEO is talking about? Or are they destined for danger? Seems kind of a weird wedge thing with a downtrend right now. Lower highs. Starting to be a long-term downtrend. Obviously didn't do the bullish breakout yet, so more downside until we can break out of this funk. RGG. Oops. Missed the G. RGG. What the heck is that? I don't think you got that, whatever you were looking for, right? I doubt you're trading that one. JD is Chinese garbage. Be careful. Kind of bearish sitting on these lows. Very high potential to break down. Sitting right here. If we break down, back test, downside, probably new lows. Still coming up into that danger zone. If we get through it, upside 207, possibly up to 240, maybe even super spicy to 330. That'll be wild. Sledge, that'll be freaking crazy if that goes to 330. And I drew that arrow like 6 months ago, before it even did the retrace. Freaking nuts. Maybe it was longer than, maybe it was last November. Crazy, crazy, crazy. Core weave. There's not enough candles to predict anything. What little I can predict, we're getting targets. Be careful. I mean, 150, possible. It's possible. But a deep retrace is also very possible. Not really enough candles to do jack diddly with. So there's no roadmap line. There's nothing to really work with here on core weave. CCI. It's just sideways, right? Yeah. ETH, yeah. Oklo into the danger zone. So coin flip, right? If we could bust through, upside. If we reject, roadmap line at the minimum or lower low. How much would the lower low be? First move down, second move down. Right there. Potential upside right there. Not very balanced. And defend. I thought I did that one. There's the resistance. Pretty sure I already did that one. QCOM is stuck in a sideways. Very, like, QCOM and MU, almost the same exact freaking pattern. Almost. So here's the resistance. Here's the support. We took a little trip down and we came right back up into the sideways consolidation. Snow already hit. JPM. Very similar to Goldman Sachs, GS. Pushed it a little high here. Be careful. I expect to come down at least to here. That's the whole basis between FAZ. I expect a little pop on those pulling back. FAZ ramping a little bit. These pop, and this maybe just get up to 5 or so. 20%, 30% upside. I mean, it's possible to get to $6, which would be a 50% upside. So anyway, there you go. Yeah. I mean, I drew that target forever ago is what I was talking about. Like, I drew that downside target on Dell and then the reversal. That's just crazy that it might pop up. Rig. What we've been talking about, downtrends. Trend is down, my friend. Resistance here. Expectation is to continue down until something else changes. Until proven otherwise. That's the trend is your friend, as they say. The trend is down, retraces lower highs all the way down through there. So this is the lower high so far. Next move, lower low. You did a little baby fib line on it, down to $1. That's rough. That's rough. ARK. Yeah, ARKK. Coin flip zone. Well, it came almost down there. Now it's rallying back up. But that was a bubble pop. So this pattern right here. That pattern right there is that pattern right there. Mind-blowing. Holy moly. When you see this, and you see this, that's the time to get out right there, because it's going to go down. Here we are again. Here we are again. Here we are again. This one repeatedly does it. Did it over here. Did it over here. Did it over here. Still working on that one. This one keeps doing it. It keeps going lower. So be careful of the bubble pattern. It's the market cycle right there. Dun, 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 dun. Home potentially is bottoming out. I'm about to wrap this baby up. Down to the bottom. There you go. Potentially bottoming. Resistance at the roadmap line. There's support. Potential to be bottomed. That's why I've traded a couple times in the 50K challenge, but dangerous. Not sure on the bottom. This is still a downtrend of highs until we break above that. Still the downtrend is the thing. Back near COVID lows. Be careful. All right, I'm gonna head out of here. Thanks for playing. Thanks for coming. I'll be back 9:15 tomorrow morning, 9:15 Eastern. We'll hunt for market movers of the day, opportunities, check out what's happening after the overnight action. Looks like we're starting out a little bit bearish. Be careful out there. The account you save may be your own. We might get this correction now that VIX is expiring. Dun, 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 dun. Back to the roadmap line. Have a great evening, everybody.